Alright, hello! Miss Tran is back, and we're going to work with word problems today. So we're going to be solving linear systems of equations, which just pretty means we're going to get a lot of word problems, and we're going to have to dig deep into them. We are breaking this up into 2 days, just so we can really focus on how to get these values out of the word problems. So the first thing I want to talk about is kind of steps that you guys should take when solving these. So the first step is to always circle the important information that's going to help you write these equations. Number 2 is to define your variables. Number 3 is to write your 2 equations. And remember, you can use any method to solve, whether it's graphing, substitution, elimination, anything. And then lastly, you could check your answers by plugging them back in. So plug in your ordered pair to the original equations to make sure you are correct. So those are your main steps. The biggest 2 is just kind of defining your variables and making sure you have all of that set up correctly. So our next one, we've got example 1. So what it's saying is Marcus and his friends are having a Final Four party. So Marcus buys 5 burgers, 9 sodas for $28.75 at a burger joint. And then he goes back again to buy 10 more burgers and 10 more sodas for a total of $47.50. So we got to write those 2 scenarios, but we got to figure out what our unknown is. So I think the biggest thing to get from this is we have no idea how much a burger costs, and we have no idea how much the soda costs. So those are going to be our 2 variables. So X is going to be cost of burger, and our Y will be cost of soda. So we have 2 different scenarios here. The first time he went and the second time he went. So for the first time that he went, you can see that he bought 5 burgers and 9 sodas for a total of $28.75. So we have 5 burgers, we don't know what the cost is, and we're combining that with the 9 sodas that we don't know what the cost is. And he spent a total of $28.75. Our next one, he goes back again, gets 10 more burgers and 10 more sodas, and spends a total of $47. That's going to be the same setup, because you have those $10 or those 10 burgers that he bought, but you don't know for how much. That's where your X comes into play. He combines that with 10 more sodas at a cost we still don't know, and that equals the total amount he spent during his second trip, which was $47.50. So these are your 2 different, systems. This is your system right here. You have 2 different scenarios, and your goal is to kind of find out how much each burger and each soda costs. So for example number 2, that's pretty similar. So we got to find our variables. Let's define those first. So you buy a bag of chips, and you buy a bag of pretzels, and it tells you how much for. You buy more pretzels and more chips later, and it tells you how much that's for as well. So those are unknown, is the cost. So X is going to be your cost of chips, and Y will be your cost of pretzels. Goodness gracious, my pen just keeps pooping out on me. Cost of pretzels. Much better. Okay, so we have 2 scenarios here. We've got the first time you go and the second time you go. So the first time you go, you can see that you bought 9 bags of pretzels. You also bought 5 bags of chips, and you spent a total of $16.95. So that's 5 bags of chips we don't know the cost of. You're combining it with your 9 bags of pretzels that we also don't know the cost of, and you spent a total of $16.95. So that's your first time you go. The second time, you buy 10 bags of chips and 10 bags of pretzels for $25.50. So that's 10x plus 10y equals $25.50. These are your two systems you can use to solve for how much the chips are and how much the pretzels are. And hopefully you're having a good time with your friends because you've got a lot of chips and pretzels. And hopefully you're keeping them happy. All right, we got 3 more setups that I want to do. The first one we're going to solve tomorrow, but I really want to talk about the setup because I think it's extremely important. So you've got 2 different rental companies. You've got Pay Up Front and you've got Drive Now, Pay Later. Well, each of these companies has a different, rate, a different cost, a different fees that they give you. So your goal is to figure out which one the better cost would be. And I use this a lot, whether it's, in the store or, if I'm traveling somewhere. These are very helpful. So for our first one, we'll do Pay Up Front. But the first step, before we even find out, what that system is we need to define our variables. So we'll have our X and Y. Well, X is going to be the days you have this car. Days with car. And Y is going to be the cost. So how much it took how much you had to pay to be able to have it for, X amount of days. So with Pay Up Front, you've got a gas fee of $33 and a daily rental fee of $8 per day. That per day is a huge, huge flag saying that's what's going to pair with your X. So we'll have Y equals your $8 per day, X being the amount of days that we don't know how much, and then you have an extra fee on top of that of $33. The next company, you've got Drive Now. Well, we can see that insurance and gas fee is $18, and it's $11 per day. So, Y equals our per day, remember, that's pairing with your X. So that's 11X plus 18. And these are the 2 systems. That's what's forming your system to be able to solve which one's going to get you that better deal. All right, example number 4. We got some lions and hyenas, in your backyard just chilling. You feed them antelope every day, but you're not sure how many are in your yard, so let's figure that out. So there's a total of 34 lions and hyenas. Well, we don't know how many lions are there, and we don't know how many hyenas are there. So let's let X equal lions, and let's let Y equal hyenas. Don't know why they're in your backyard, but they're there, and you're being a good person. So we've got two different lines here. We got our first one, we got our second one. The first one is telling you how many, total animals there are in your backyard. So that means you're combining your lions and your hyenas to get a total of 34, but you don't know how much each is there. So that's your first problem. Your second problem is you gotta buy them some antelope. So you know that one lion eats 4 antelope and one hyena eats 3. So you've got 4 per lion. You're combining that with 3 per hyena, and they're eating a total of 117 antelopes. That's a lot. But those are your 2 systems. You got to figure out why they're in your backyard. First of all, that's your first problem. But those are your 2 systems, so you can figure out how many lions are in there and how many hyenas are there. So perfect. And then lastly, example number 5. Jill and Jack went to a baseball game. Let's say they went to a baseball game. Well, Jill, she bought 1 hot dog and 2 soft drinks for $4.95. And Jack bought 3 hot dogs, and 1 soft drink for $6.85. So, as you guys can see, we do not know how much a hot dog costs or a soft drink costs. So, X equals your hot dog, and Y equals your drink. So, when we write Jill's, we can see that she bought 1 hot dog. So, that's 1X. She combines it with 2 drinks, and she gets a total of $4.95 spent. But Jack, on the other hand, he bought 3 hot dogs and combined that with 1 soft drink for a total of $6.85. So with these two systems, you could solve how much a hot dog costs and how much a drink costs at that baseball game that they're at. But that's all I've got for you today. Practice setting these up. Practice pulling the numbers and making an equation out of it. I know that can be extremely difficult, but please, if you need to check your answers, let us know. You can do it. Goodbye.